Chapter 4 02-10-19 2200 hours and 36 minutes GMT +2 Chocofiel. You there, Nadine? It costs money to use the internet here at the cafe. Can you believe I don't have internet access at work? I guess it's because they found people were more productive if they didn't access the internet. Nadine. Lainey, how are you doing? How's your internship? Chocofiel. Great. I have a sadistic boss who is a total control freak. He doesn't like me, and I don't like him, even if he is hot. Nadine. He's hot, huh? Chocofiel. Yes, but not in a good way. Like, I'm too hot to even look sideways at you. Nadine. And it bothers you? Chocofiel. I thought we were talking about my internship. Nadine. Oh yes, tell me all about it. Chocofiel. Mostly I've been doing data entry. It's like my boss doesn't trust me with anything important. He hovers over me whenever I do something. Nadine. Maybe you need to be worthy of his trust. Chocofiel. Thanks, Nadine. Nadine. What's your plan to get to chocolate from here? Chocofiel. Hard work? Get the devil, a.k.a. Monsieur Clermont, to write me a good recommendation, if he doesn't fire me first. Nadine. He won't fire you. You are the hardest worker, the smartest person I know, Lainey. Chocofiel. Wanna fly here and tell my boss? He thinks I'm a dolt. He's the most exacting, punctilious, anal-retentive person I know. He has to have control over every little detail. Nadine. Sounds like someone else I know. Cough. Lainey Peterson. Chocofiel. Ha ha, Nadine. Nadine. All I'm saying is that you guys sound perfect for each other. Chocofiel. Ugh, he's my boss. You can't be interested in your boss. Nadine. Didn't you say he was hot? Chocofiel. Yeah, but devoid of all humor and straight-laced is not attractive to me. Nadine. Okay, if you say so. Chocofiel. Tell me more about your wedding plans. How did Martin ask you to marry him? Nadine. Oh, Lainey, at Comic-Con, at his Ironotron? You remember the game he invented, right? Booth, the Ironotron had "Will you marry me, Nadine?" flashing on its letterboard. Chocofiel. How romantic. Eye roll. Martin is such a nerd. Have you set a date? Nadine. We're still discussing it. Chocofiel. I'll get home the first week of December. I'll then be able to perform my maid of honor duties. I am your maid of honor, aren't I? Nadine. Of course. Chocofiel. If I'm not too beat up from this stupid internship, if my boss doesn't kill me, or as long as I don't kill him, I could just strangle him with his own designer tie. Nadine. You want to strangle your hot boss? Sounds suspicious. Chocofiel. What? Why? Nadine. It's not love unless you want to kill him. Chocofiel. That's the most ridiculous thing anyone has ever said. Nadine. You keep bringing him up. Nadine. Lainey, are you still there? Nadine. It says typing and then it stops, then typing again. Chocofiel. He's a power freak. He's demanding. I do not like him. Do not like him. Nadine. Martin says the even number of not cancels each other out. You like him. Chocofiel. Gah, fine. I hate him. Nadine. Don't say hate, Lainey. It's an awfully strong word. Chocofiel, you're right. I shouldn't use hate. If there was a word stronger than hate, I'd use it. I am not in any way, shape, or form attracted to Monsieur Clermont. He thinks I'm a klutz sent to ruin his career. We are as opposite as white and dark chocolate. Nadine, but they go well together. And you keep saying how hot he is. Chocofiel, Nadine, you will not bring it up again. Nadine, okay, geez. It just sounds suspiciously like you're trying not to like him. Chocofiel, anyway, he has a girlfriend. Nadine, see? The fact that you know he has a girlfriend. You like him. Chocofiel, I am ignoring your last comment. I have to go. Let me know what I can do to be the best maid of honor ever. I can organize the dinner, help with the decor. Ooh, I'll make specialized chocolate truffles with gilded initials. Wouldn't you love them? Maybe make one with a Star Trek logo on it for Martin? Nadine, tee-hee, he'd love it. Chocofiel, I've got your back. I am your woman. This is what I do best. TTYL. Nadine, thanks. Hey, enjoy your internship. I'm sure things will get better. Chocofiel, let's hope so. Nadine, hugs. Chocofiel, thanks. Lainey entered the cubicle room, leaving the brisk fall air of October outside the windows. Sabine piled a small Washington monument of folders on her desk, with no explanation. A smirk parted her lips as she left. She might actually derive pleasure from the 1-2 punch of leaving Lainey with an obelisk of work without any directions. Flipping back a folder, Lainey inhaled deeply, diving in, trying to figure out what was required. Luckily, she had a minor in mind reading and divination. She scanned a few pages on a new line of dog treats. They wanted her to review these product details and distill them into marketing speak. Ha! She rubbed her hands together, suppressing a giggle of glee. With a degree in English, she was prepared for this. She could finally shine, even if the content was less than interesting. And translating it into French might slow her down, but she was up to the task. By 10 o'clock, she was smoking. She had reviewed 3 products, written 3 brochure mock-ups, and sent them via email to Sabine for Monsieur Clermont to review. She unwrapped a small corner of an Alpine Foods milk chocolate with hazelnuts from her stash and slipped a square into her mouth. She was on fire. At precisely 10:05 by Lainey's Swiss timepiece, Sabine, in her pencil-lined skirt and polka-dotted shirt, approached her with the 3 printed papers in hand. Monsieur Clermont says he is not satisfied. She slapped them on the desk and left, the back of her skirt flapping like a doggy door. Did he say what I should fix? Lainey called after her. Of course there was no reply. Then she glanced down. The top of the first one had "trop long" written across it. Too long? She faced the word processor. The first product was Treat Spheres, an organic ball-shaped dog treat. As the dog retrieved the ball, bits of treat would fall into its mouth to encourage games and exercise. She reviewed the product specifications, wondering what she could cut. Iron content, fiber content. She examined the competitors' similar products, compared prices, and condensed. The second one was a vitamin water for dogs called Doggy Delish. Monsieur Clermont had written, "Pas assez précis," not specific enough. She studied the material Sabine left on her desk. There wasn't much to work with. It was water. It had vitamins. What more could she say? She threw her hands into the air. What was she doing? She didn't own pets. In the end, she revamped it with a sales pitch, saying it was the perfect vitamin supplement delivery system. Next one, Canine Canines, a bone treat/toothbrush. Sec comme un os. Dry as a bone? Was this a joke? Mary Claire said the Swiss don't have a sense of humor. What was she supposed to write? Eat these treats and you'll never have to floss and rinse? She pepped up her writing and emailed them to Sabine. When Lainey returned from lunch, her 3 papers sat on her desk with a huge "Non" written on 2 of them. The last one had, "You can do better." The English was a slap in the face. What did he want? Yanking open the one and only drawer, she ripped open another bar, stuffing squares of chocolate in her mouth between growls at her boss. She scowled at her computer. Not only did she have to work with dog food instead of chocolate, she had to work for someone who expected her to be a mind reader. Fine. She opened her email client, found Monsieur Clermont's email address, and typed him this: De Elaine Peterson at alpinefoods.ch. A Yves Clermont at alpinefoods.ch. Sujet: further enlightenment. Monsieur Clermont, I need specific feedback if you are to reject my product reviews. To write something meeting your meticulous standards, I need further enlightenment. Elaine Peterson. No sooner had she sent the email than she regretted it. Surely she would figure it out in a few hundred more drafts. Within a few minutes, her cell phone buzzed, moving sideways across a stack of manila folders. A text from Sabine. Monsieur Clermont wants to see you in his office now. Even in French, it sounded harsh. There was something intimidating about Monsieur Clermont. Not his charisma or his self-confidence. There were plenty of men who had both of those qualities who didn't make Lainey shake. His eyes caught every detail, every move, every emotion. When she entered his office, she felt as transparent as the wall of windows behind him. Please, sit down, Mademoiselle Peterson. A cufflink clinked on the desk as he folded his hands in front of him, interlocking his fingers. She sat. He was motionless, only staring at Lainey. His gaze bore into her soul, unearthing every thought about him. She blushed. Mademoiselle, he said, why did you choose to intern for Alpine Foods? The question caught her off guard. Weren't they talking about pet food product reviews? And hadn't she answered the question in the interview? Under the weight of his deep, penetrating gaze, Lainey stammered. She wanted to glance away, but she couldn't. When other people asked her, why Alpine Foods in Switzerland? Why not stay in the States? She had said, the Swiss eat 2 pounds of chocolate a month. Where else would I want to go? Which was the truth. But she had a feeling he didn't want a flippant answer about the Swiss diet. Lainey could never please Monsieur Clermont enough for him to recommend her to chocolate. Alpine Foods is the top producer of chocolate in the world. I only wanted to work for the best. He rose suddenly from his desk to face the window, his back to Lainey, gazing out to the afternoon sun sitting over the Dent du Midi, sunshine filling the Swiss plateau. The moment you told me about each individual you helped in your nonprofit, I wanted you in our department. He spoke this one compliment over his shoulder to her. A compliment? From him? He focused again on the scenery. His dark hair settled perfectly in the back of his head. Even from the back, he radiated confidence. He stalked back to his desk, staring at Lainey directly. anger flashing in his eyes. I thought someone with your care and passion would give me something better than this. Ouch. Her heart burned to her face. She wanted to lower her eyes, but she continued staring straight ahead. From his desk, he retrieved copies of her reviews. He shuffled through them and slapped them on his desk, causing a flutter of other documents. Her voice cracked with shame. Her face smoldered in embarrassed heat. I don't understand. Let me tell you about the importance of pet care departments. In Switzerland, 1 in every 4 people is a pet owner. These people have needs, and we, as the pet care department, must meet those needs. For some of our aged customers, their pets are the only pleasure of company they have, to whom they are number 1. He emphasized his last point with a finger. The pointer, thankfully. We need to show them we care for their pets as much as they do. We are not casting for customers. We are helping people. He paused, picking up her papers. This is selling. We need to be helping. He searched deep into her soul. It needs to come from our heart, not our bottom line. See it the same way you saw homemade meals, and you will succeed. You can do this, Mademoiselle Peterson. I know it is within you. Now go. Please me. Embarrassed, humbled, yet encouraged, she slinked out the door. Those words, please me, echoed in her ears, inspiring her. Back at her desk, she cleared the other folders to the ground under her chair. She considered what Monsieur Clermont said. He was right. She hadn't given her heart. She deleted everything. From her drawer, she removed an Alpine bar, white chocolate cassis. She broke off a corner, letting the black currant flavor smother her tongue as she revamped her work. Starting fresh, she pictured the elderly ladies and men with their pets. How could this product help them? She meditated, slowly devouring the bar. At last, she wrote a short essay for all 3 products in French. She searched words on the English-French dictionary she found shelved among the other dictionaries of every language imaginable, laboriously searching for the perfect, succinct word to describe the details. She emailed them to Sabine and Monsieur Clermont. Monsieur Clermont replied, "Perfect. Now I need those in German, Italian, and English." "What?" she said aloud in English when she received the email. Was he crazy? She slapped down the lid of her laptop and stalked around the room to stretch her legs. Did he think she was a linguist? She decided to march right down to his office and tell him he asked the impossible. Halfway to his office, she stopped, her anger spent. She had finished many other difficult tasks. She had earned a scholarship to one of the most prestigious universities in the United States. She never backed down from the impossible. She would show him she merited her degree. Of course, she succeeded by never giving up a challenge. She would do the translations. Britta could help her on the German one, so she started with the Italian. She spied an Italian-French dictionary in the bookcase underneath the window. This would be helpful since there was no internet access. She lugged the book over to her desk and searched for the first word. The grammar should be similar since they were both Romance languages, right? With a snap, she broke off another piece of chocolate, opened a new document, flipped through the pages of the dictionary, searching for canine. This was going to take all night. Near 6 p.m., she finished the first bar and reached for another. The other employees left for home and family, and the lights dimmed. Several entries in the dictionary for certain words had multiple meanings. Neither tongue was her native language. She flipped, searched, wrote, ate. Around 9, she took a break to stretch. She was creeped out to be alone in this big, empty building. What if something happened? In the stillness, noises echoed in the hall. She was not alone. Lainey, curious, approached the doors, the voices growing louder. Lainey peeked through the doors. Guy and Luke passed through the hall. "Stop worrying," Luke said, his back to her. She smelled cigarette smoke. Had they been smoking? "Eve will get his. Come on." Nearing midnight, she was halfway through the translation, flipping and searching, not really sure if her translation was correct. She couldn't find scrumptious. It should have been right after... Oh, wait, she was in the Italian side, not French. She threw the book across the room, wishing to hit Monsieur Clermont's head instead of the cubicle wall. She wouldn't let him break her. She had tough professors at Stanford who demanded 30-page theses on metaphors. Tonight, she only had to translate a simple essay into Italian. She retrieved the book and continued. Powered by chocolate and adrenaline, she pored over the dictionary, searching for words and usage, reading over her paragraph, hoping it made sense. By sunrise, she was sweating chocolate. The lights flickered on, and she finished the last sentence of the last essay. Her neck ached from bending over the dictionary all night. Noises stirred in the building. Her eyes drooped. At 8 a.m., the doors opened to the cubicle area. She awoke with wrappers stuck to her face. Monsieur Clermont, with his calfskin briefcase, stalked in and stood before her. Lainey struggled to lift her eyes to meet him after the terrible things she thought about him all night, in case he had the power to read her soul. How she wanted to cut off every extraneous appendage and throw it in the lake. Sleepiness clouded her eyes and her brain. Bits of chocolate were smeared in her wild hair since she spent the last 4 hours pulling it out. His eyes widened. "What are you doing?" "Translating your reviews." She didn't mean to sound so bitter. She hadn't really slept all night, but she was fluent in Italian. That was the chocolate speaking. Finally, she lifted her gaze to his, just to emphasize the grandeur of what he had asked of her. He carefully examined her desk with 12 empty chocolate wrappers. He scrutinized her hair, unkempt and greasy. At last, his gaze landed on the Italian dictionary, well thumbed and used, even smeary with chocolate. "You've been here all night translating your reviews with a dictionary?" She snorted. What a jerk to ask. Even ruder to suppress a smile. What else was I supposed to do? I don't know Italian. Gracefully, he slid beside her. How did he smell so divine? And with the tap of the mouse, opened an application labeled STS and copied her original French document and pasted it in there. Scrolling over a drop-down menu bar in alphabetical listing of languages. Italian. Right above Japanese. In a few seconds, the French she'd spent all night translating magically transformed into Italian. Didn't Sabine train you on the simple translation software? He opened the new tab and translated the same paragraphs into German. This was wrong on so many levels. All the work, the whole night, wasted. All the evil, horrible things she thought about Monsieur Clermont while she was translating, all wrong. She flipped back to her original translated document, glaring from her screen to her paper, comparing translations. They were almost exact. Back and forth she glanced. Ha! This word? I looked it up. It's actually better translated as sostenere, not nutrire. Monsieur Clermont blinked, his lips a wavering line. Go home, Mademoiselle Peterson. You've worked hard enough for today. Go home and get some sleep. Tomorrow you can finish the rest in STS. Sabine will show you how to use it. She stood, crumpled her chocolate wrappers into a ball, and shuffled down the hall. Somewhere in her sleep-deprived, addled brain, she noted his amused expression contained a hint of admiration. Eve's gaze followed her as she parted the coming crowd of workers. Then he let out a raw chuckle. There were still gobs of chocolate on the desk. He removed his hanky from his suit pocket and wiped it off, folding it over a few times until the desk shone. He couldn't help but smile. He had never seen such dedication in a subordinate, an admirable quality. Perhaps his lecture yesterday inspired her. Still, he sighed, opening the door. Something must be done about Sabine. Sadly, he couldn't terminate her, as she was a protégée of Monsieur le Président. He might have underestimated her jealousy. Eve stopped short, surprised at his word choice. Sabine wasn't jealous. How could she be? She was careless, and perhaps resentful. Eve unlocked the door to his office and set down his briefcase near the coat stand where he removed his coat. At his desk, he opened his laptop, smiling again at the thought of Lainey, her red eyes and frazzled hair, her innocent translation of the reviews by hand. This was an incident he needed to write to his mother. She needed a good laugh, but he couldn't use Lainey's real name even in his private emails. It would never do to link his name with hers. It was just an amusing story, something to cheer up his mother. While he was typing his email, Luke tapped on his door. Eve glanced up, setting the lid down on his email. Yes? I was wondering if I could borrow your car tonight. Luke swept back his hair. A cloud of cigarette smoke followed him. Eve cringed at the thought of him driving his Maserati. He loved the finely tuned V8. He bought Italian shoes, suits, and cars, because Italians made the best. What do you need it for? I have a date with this new girl, and I hope to impress her. Eve would rather he carried turnips. I am sorry, but I will be working late tonight. He opened his laptop and began writing down the latest sales reports. No other excuse? Luke slapped the wall. You need a life, man. Eve glanced up at him. And what do you expect me to do? Waste it as you do? You think you are better than me. No, I know I am. Not for long. And Luke disappeared around the corner. Not for long.